The 80s saw George return to the zombie genre with a major bang. And on top of it, the guy is bringing in tens of millions of dollars with movies like Creepshow, Day of the Dead, and writing Creepshow 2. After Monkey Shines, though, George's pace slows down. From 1990 to 2000, he will only release 3 full-length films, 2 of which had already been filmed from 1989 to 1991. Knowing the typical Hollywood narrative, you'd assume George's career is done. But like the Godfather himself said, just like his zombies, he won't stay dead. This is Serial Killer. Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Horror Show. Show dissects, mutilates, dismembers, and butchers all of your favorite and not so favorite horror movies and other horror-related events. I'm Sean.
I'm Joe.
What's going on, Joe?
What's going on, man?
Hey, man, how did we not talk about Will Byers' stupid haircut on the Patreon bonus episode?
It's bad. It's bad.
Fucking brutal, baby. Insane that they would allow that on television. But hey, what can you do? Anyway, we had a great Patreon bonus episode. It was really fun.
It was.
I enjoyed it. A lot of music chat, which we'll talk about a little bit here too. Because George Romero makes a couple funny decisions in the year 1999-2000. Yeah. But we're back with Serial Killer Part 3 on George Romero. So
are you liking it? Are you liking doing not are you liking the movies? Are you liking doing the Serial Killer?
Here's what I'm going to say, and I would even start it as soon as this winter. I like Serial Killer a lot. It's fun. It makes me sink my teeth in a little bit more.
I would do as soon as this winter, but I was going to say at least once a year going forward, we should choose a director and just go through it like we're doing.
Yeah, I agree. Or like some kind of linear thing that you can track. Now,
series,
the reason I said winter is because I don't want to do it in the summer ever again.
Okay.
We have shit that we're
so much going on.
Yeah, like, dude, it's like honestly. So we talked about it a little bit on the bonus about how it's insane that we're fitting in 3 movies or 4 sometimes each week, where we were struggling with one movie just weeks ago.
Yeah, I'm repeating myself from what I just said on the Patreon, but like literally before we started this, I'd be like, how am I going to squeeze this fucking movie in this week? And it was just one movie, and somehow now I've gone to more concerts in the last 2 weeks than I've gone to in the last 5 years. And I'm somehow watching 6 fucking Romero movies and being able to talk about it.
Yeah. So it's a weird.
I'm with you. Winter would be better.
Winter would be sick, dude. I got no problems. I'll throw 3 movies on in the winter time, but I don't want to say it sucks. It doesn't suck, but like I'm trying to like balance right now, and it's fine. It's fine. I'm enjoying Serial Killer, but I'm also like, boy, I wish I could watch this movie outside. Like. While I'm hanging out outside doing something, but I'm really enjoying it. I'm really enjoying Serial Killer, though.
Yeah,
it was. I think it was a mental hurdle to get back to doing it because I just remember it took a lot out of me every time we did it last time, like in terms of like production and stuff. But then this time it's been easy, so I don't know.
Yeah,
I fucking just record that shit. Fucking boop.
You're a pro now.
Send it out. I don't think that's what it is. I think I probably just give a fuck. Don't give as many fucks about it. I don't know how to say it. I don't know. I think we're different setup now. I don't know. I don't edit that much, so I don't know. I don't know what I was doing before. I'll be quite frank with you. But also, hey, here's the other thing about it. Fucking Reagan. Another shout out this week. Because she's just making great shit. And, like, Serial Killer is something you don't just, like, make and put out. You know what I mean? Like, there's, like, some production value to it. So it's, like, you want to promote it a lot. And I think that was probably the most work. So I appreciate Reagan doing that for us during this one. Cause that's honestly probably what makes it easier is I just fucking edit it and send it out. So,
for sure.
But yeah, no. So George Romero, we left off last week at Day of the Dead. I'm sorry. Day of the Dead. 1985. But we fast forwarded through Creepshow 2, which he just writes. He's not a director on. Monkey Shines, which he writes and directs.
We did a full episode.
Check that out. And then Tales from the Dark Side, which he writes and is made in 1990.
Yes. And he also is involved with the Night of the Living Dead remake in 1990.
Yes, yeah. God, man, I can't even believe that, which I love so much. I fucking love that movie.
One of the greatest remakes of all time.
Which Justin Lohr, who is part of Horror Business Podcast, messaged me, and he said that in the remake, which I don't remember, but in the remake, remember how we were joking about the guy being like, they're coming to get you, Barbara, and he's just talking about an old man, like, out there. In the remake, he is just an old man.
Oh, he's not a zombie.
He's not a zombie.
Isn't it Bill Moseley playing that part?
Yes, it's Bill Moseley. It's just a confused old man that this guy's like, you fucking idiot.
That's funny. I didn't realize that.
Dude, it fucking killed me. He was like, no, he is 100% not a zombie. And it's like verified in the movie. Like it's confirmed in the movie. And I was like, oh, that's fucking amazing.
So before we jump into the movies that we're going to talk about this week, George has a pretty damn good 80s, right? I mean, safe to say a pretty fucking legendary 80s, right?
Absolutely.
But he also kind of like slows down a bit between movies from Day to Monkey Shines and then into the 90s. And I was looking into it. He was attached to make so many damn movies that could have been like out of this world. And Laurel Entertainment, which produced, put out a lot of the movies that he did, was going to be like, or at least have like a subdivision that was just going to be a horror studio with George. And they're going to make, TV series like they were doing with Tales from the Dark Side. They're going to make a Creepshow franchise. And he was going to partner up with Stephen King. And he was attached to do Pet Sematary, Salem's Lot, and The Stand. So nuts. But like they all fell through. And like The Stand, I think I even had like stills and stuff that you can like find out there. But it fell through.
That's crazy.
The storyboards are out there. Yeah. Sorry, I was reading my own notes there. And it was going to go through Warner Brothers. And like, I would have fucking loved to see that, man.
He was attached to so much shit and will continue to be attached onto shit through like the 90s and 2000s. Like he was going to do the Goosebumps show. He was going to do all of these different fucking things. I can't even think of I read like a dozen of them today.
He's going to do a thing called Copperhead, which was partnership with Marvel. So like, think about that time. He could have kicked off Marvel. And I think it was an original comic that they were going to make like with George, but he was going to make that, and it fell through with Laurel Studios falling through. And what I heard was like Laurel Studios was raising a lot of money. And then it just wasn't going towards anything worthwhile and just kind of fizzled out.
This guy has had such a fucking career, man. And bigger than I thought.
Way bigger. And he was attached to Resident Evil.
Yeah.
And he directed a commercial for the video game Resident Evil 2, which is, you can find it on YouTube. And it's just a commercial that only aired in Japan, didn't air outside of Japan. And it has Brad Renfro as like the guy, the kid in it, Adrian France. And it's a legitimate, like it has George all over it. I mean, there's like great looking zombies in this 30-second commercial. It has better production value than like most of the movies that we see.
That's so nuts. And he was also attached to do like The Girl Who Loved Tom Gordon, which I think they're still trying to make. Like the guy's just like gotten his hands into like everything. He was attached to everything. I don't know. I'd be curious about that. I don't know. He also loved having a low budget.
Dude, I think that like that plays into it. Like, I don't want to say he was a pushover because I know nothing about the guy, but I feel like if he was like hungrier or just more, just like fuck you, I'm doing this. Like give me what I want, or like working with more star power, he could have got more of that made.
So he has an interesting quote, because he was very much a proponent of like low budget. He preferred it. But he also has a quote. I'm trying to find it right now so I don't fucking butcher it. But he was basically like, you only have freedom in low budget and then like mega budget. He's like, you don't get any freedom in that fucking middle area, which is where he's kind of residing right now. He's kind of residing in these like middle of the road studio films right now. And this episode will kind of be the end of that.
Yeah.
This is his last, I don't know what word to use for it, but he's done with Hollywood after this episode. He's going to do Two Evil Eyes, which calling that Hollywood seems crazy, but it did have a decent budget for it. And there's another movie where it was supposed to be like I wonder if it's just George. It's just like, because like I feel like most Hollywood people try not to like let things loose, but I feel like George just tells everyone everything, and that's why there's so many like George was attached to this. You know what I mean? You read that shit on the internet usually, and you're like, oh, that's weird. I've never heard that. But George must just go around being like, yeah, we were gonna do this. So Two Evil Eyes was actually supposed to include John Carpenter and Stephen King. Stephen King.
I thought Wes was attached.
Or maybe it was Wes and Stephen King. It might be. No, it's John Carpenter and Stephen King. And Stephen King was like...
Yeah, you're right. Yeah.
It was right after Maximum Overdrive. So Stephen King was like, no, absolutely fucking not. Which is such a fucking bummer. Because we did Maximum Overdrive. It's not a bad movie, dude.
So I don't think I was on that episode. I don't think I've watched it in forever. I think that was when I was on...
it might have just been me and Paul.
But dude, I thought I was like losing my mind. But right here it says John Carpenter and Stephen King were considered to direct 2 of the segments. And then it also says right here, Dario Argento wanted it to be Romero, Carpenter, Craven, and himself. So both... I think Argento was just...
Argento is such a dude. I'm going to say something.
His eyes were bigger than his stomach.
Right, dude. That dude, like, yeah, of course you want Wes Craven. Like, what the fuck are you saying? Like, Wes Craven doesn't even fit that creepy vibe that these guys have. Like, these guys all have, like, a fucking creepy fucking vibe. And you know what I mean? Like, they can all make creepy shit. Wes Craven's not, like, creepy. He's just a fucking weirdo. He just makes weird shit. He doesn't fit into that anthology whatsoever. It makes way more sense for Stephen King to be involved in it. But
now it says Carpenter and Craven pulled out, so I guess at least they were proposed it. But it got me thinking. Movie trivia is so funny because some guy can literally just be like, "Yeah, I was gonna have," and you could just name like, "I was gonna have John Wayne be in this." Like, did you ask him, or did you just want him to be in it? And like, if you didn't ask him, you could still be part of a trivia. Like John Wayne was considered. Like,
we've talked about that on this show in the past about how like you'll read the thing and it'd be like they thought they were gonna. Like some fucking movie with a $5,000 budget will be like, oh, they originally wanted Sarah Michelle Gellar in it. And it's like, yeah, no shit. Everyone wanted Sarah Michelle Gellar in their fucking movie. Fucking Muck, Luck of the Irish was probably like, oh, they wanted fucking Freddie Prinze Jr. Yeah, no shit. You would have taken anybody, but you did. That wasn't possible. Like,
wrote the part specifically.
Right. Oh, Freddie. Yeah, we wrote this for Seth Green. Yeah, no shit, you fucking dumb idiot. Like, that shit always pisses me off. Like, it's true. And it is like a fact. Like, people read it off like, hey, they were fucking ready to roll. No, they weren't. They weren't. The only good ones are when they were cast and then, like, declined it or something. Or, like, cast and then they had to, like, leave the shoot. And they had to reshoot it or whatever. That's where I draw the line on that.
It's so funny. Written specifically for this guy. That guy is reading it at the same time we are.
I could write something for somebody right now. Fucking
yeah.
I mean shit. Can we shout out Johnny? 2 people. Johnny Viggs.
Yes.
Who actually I'll shout him out second. I want to shout him out second. I want to shout out Jenna Vachon first, who drew that cool painting.
Yes.
Me and her are buds. She's really cool from Canada. Makes great Pokemon art. I'll shout out her thing if you're into that. J Vachon, Vachon 81. Check out her artwork. She did one for the horror show that was just so fucking cool.
It was great, and like the comments, I threw it up on my stories, and people were like, "This is fucking awesome." Like,
yeah,
this is incredible.
It's really neat, and it like encapsulates like the fucking late night shit that we were inspired by.
Yeah.
And then Johnny Vig, who works for Crocs, he's our Croc plug. He's such a good guy. He messages us every once in a while. He messaged us though, and he asked us a question that I thought was so fucking good. And it was, do you think that if George Romero were alive today, he would be rocking with A24?
The answer is yes. It was a great question that Johnny said, and like all of us in that chat were like, yeah, and it would be Martin. Like that scene from Martin. Martin is the prototype for A24.
I think you said that, and I was like, fuck, I think you're right. Like,
dude, I mean, we both liked Martin, so I'm not saying this as an insult, but like it's a whole lot of nothing for a majority of that movie. And we were debating, is Martin a vampire? I don't fucking know. We don't know. What was the resolve of that? And there's a scene where the character that we think is a vampire shows up dressed as a fucking vampire. You're like, oh god, finally, he's a vampire. And then he's just wearing a Dracula costume, being an asshole in a park. And that's the most A24 shit I've ever seen.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And again, like you said, like there's no real clear evidence either way. Is he a vampire or is he not? Or what the fuck is going on? Like, and the fucking black and white shots that are dream sequences, you could interpret it either as a dream sequence or a flashback. Yes. If he's really a vampire, it's a flashback. If it's not, it's a fucking dream sequence. Come on. Like, what are we doing? Yeah. Like, the dude was fucking made for that shit. Like,
I mean, we're on episode 3 now, and it just becomes more and more apparent with everything that he's done that he is the father of everybody's style that's come after him. Like, there's not a single person that could say they didn't draw influence from Romero.
No.
Whether intentionally or unintentionally.
Yeah, absolutely. And the guy does whatever the fuck he wants still, which is fucking crazy. It's fucking crazy. Like, this guy could have just rode the fucking coattails out of zombies, put his name on every fucking zombie thing ever made, and just try to sell it. And instead, in the 90s, he's like, no, I'm not really going to work that much. I want to work with Argento, so let's do that. He had already worked with him as a producer on Dawn of the Dead. Now I get to direct side by side with him. Then I'm going to do a Stephen King thing because me and him are just buds. We just fucking love each other. And then Bruiser, which... What the fuck was that?
What the fuck was Bruiser? And I don't even mean that in a negative way.
I don't mean that in a negative way at all. Why is no one ever talked about Bruiser ever to me? I think Bruiser fucking rocks. I think Bruiser was fucking cool as fuck.
I think all 3 of these movies looked miserable just based on the cover and title. I'm like, and it's in the 90s, right? Yeah. That time frame is just a lull for
sure.
Not until Scream came in 96. Like that whole period before it was just like run-of-the-mill mundane bullshit.
Yeah. So
I was like, this is going to be a big dip in quality. He's just going to go through the motions. Dude, all 3 of these are fucking good. They're fucking, I'm going to say it. They're fucking good. Like Bruiser, I'm not going to lie and say Bruiser's one of Romero's best. It's certainly not. Bruiser is fucking weird, but for like enjoyment, it's way better than it had any right to be.
Dude, I was like captivated by I've been sick. I've got the vid, and I started Bruiser last night, and if I hadn't taken NyQuil, I would have stayed up way late just to finish it. It was like that movie. Like, it was one of those movies where you're like, well, I gotta see what the fuck is going on here. Like, yeah, it really like makes you
pretty unique. Yeah,
it's super unique. I've never seen anything fucking like that, and it's kind of stupid, but it's like. It's fucking...
It works.
Also really good. Like, I don't know. Like, there's nothing wrong with that movie. Like, I shouldn't say it like that. I mean, how do I say that? The shit that kind of comes off as corny or stupid is not that bad. It's like, you think about it and you're like, that's weird. But it's like, 2000, the year 2000, like everything kind of fucking sucked.
If that was like an up-and-comer's first movie, you'd be like, this
oh my God,
fucking stud.
For sure.
Can't wait
for sure.
Kind of along with the A24 conversation we are just having, like, it's a fucking weirdo movie. Why is that? Why do you wake up with a mask on?
And it was like, dude, it was like a French movie, and you can definitely feel some like French influence in that. Like,
yeah,
you definitely can feel it, but like, then it makes me wonder, and I don't know the answer to this. So I'm trying to think of, when did all of those like really hyped French horror films start coming out? Wasn't it like later in the 2000s? It was like 2002, 2003, or was it maybe like before Bruiser? Like
High Tension,
the fucking Martyrs. Martyrs is a good one. Martyrs. When did that come out? 2008. So those were later in the 2000s.
High Tension was like 03.
I'll be honest. I think George Romero fucking set those movies up. Like, dude, if this is a French film, right? It's Studio Canal. It was French backed. It probably got big play in France. How does that not influence horror? Like, think about like the way that movie is set up, the way it's kind of shot. Like, you can see similarities in that to those other French films. And taking like the crazy absurd and bringing it into what George does best, which is like everyday life.
Yeah, and again, with all of these movies, all three of these movies that nobody talks about and that I certainly didn't give a fuck about watching until I watched them, he gets really good performances out of everybody. Bruiser has Peter Stormare, who's well known, and he's great, and he's such a good sleazeball.
Oh my God.
But like the main guy in Bruiser, who the fuck is that guy?
Dude, I don't know.
Dude, that guy looks as vanilla as you could possibly look. Like the least interesting person to look at. Why is he the star? But he gets a good performance out of him. Like I liked it.
I thought the same thing. I was like, how do you cast this guy? Because he's not exactly the most handsome guy. So in my head, I was like, because in the role, you kind of want like a handsome dude. And I was like, it's not like they asked for like, give me your most handsome actor. So I was curious how they cast that guy. Bruiser was something, man. I'm excited to talk about him.
Could we just make some noise for Tom Atkins? Because we all know Tom Atkins from Halloween 3, and we know him from Night of the Creeps. Dude, this guy, he's showing up in bit parts, and he's just blowing it away. Like, he is the best in any movie that he's in these movies. When he shows up, you're just like, holy fuck, this guy's awesome.
Wait, we also have to give it up for the nurse from Monkey Shines, who appears in...
Oh, his wife.
Oh, and that's why she's in all of them.
She's in all of them, yeah.
Bro.
Night Riders, yeah.
Bro, she is in all of these and playing a nurse or like a child daycare person, like a nanny.
Yeah.
A nanny. And like every film, she's like, Jesus fucking Christ. And I remember she came in for the nanny part and she shows up and I was like, oh my God. First of all, should we be calling these the Nurse Trilogy? Is she the one that's bringing hell wherever she goes?
Whoa.
Or is it Tom Atkins, the cop in all of them? But the Nurse Trilogy.
Well, fuck, we'll talk about it in Bruiser more, but there is dialogue that Tom Atkins says that can't be scripted. You know what I'm talking about when the guy is destroying evidence by hanging it out the window?
Oh yeah.
Dude, they must have told Atkins like just say whatever you want, because he's honestly acting like my dad, just like trying to be like an insult comic and just ripping this guy.
I know. There was that. I thought you were going to go to that conversation where him and that guy say the word dame 30 times to each other. I'll be honest, like I love fucking George. That is actually just bad writing in the sense that they just kept using the same word over and over. No one on earth has ever said dame that many times. Dame, you dame. I actually counted it. It was 7 times in 94 seconds. So
in a movie from the year 2000 that also takes place in the year 2000.
Correct. Thank you for clarifying that. Dame was not a fucking...
Like, if it was in Night Riders, I'd be fine with it, but not fucking Bruiser.
Fucking Dame. I fucking love it. That girl, what I was going to say, his wife playing the nanny was great because she walked in And finally, she wasn't the nurse. Because every scene she's introduced, it's like, oh, here's the nurse. And it's her. And you're like, oh, shit. Except for, I forget which one. I don't know. She's a nanny in one of them. Bruiser? No, there's no kids in Bruiser. Is there? No. I don't know. So it's the other one. The dark half. She's the nanny. And she walks in. And I was like, oh, she's actually fucking pleasant in this one. Like, she actually seemed like kind of kind and nice because she's like taking care of the kids. She immediately picks up the kids and is like, Jesus fucking Christ. And like just clomps up the stairs. And I was like, oh, I fucking love this. I love it. You gave his wife these parts where she's just absolutely fucking miserable.
We talked about it in Monkey Shines, but her performance in Monkey Shines is Hall of Fame worthy because she has one job to do and she is just absolutely livid. And this guy can't move, right? The entire time. Like, he's not making her do that much out of the ordinary.
Dude, it's honestly everything bothered her, and everything continues to bother her in these two movies. I think she might be carrying a dark spirit around with her.
I like that.
The Nurse trilogy. It's Monkey Shines, Two Evil Eyes, and The Dark Half. Well,
I like it.
Yeah. All right, so let's get into it. Two Evil Eyes, as we've already said, was a 1990, originally intended to be an anthology. Of course, Tom Savini's involved. Julie Benz gets her acting break, not in this one, but in Argento's.
Black Cat.
This one's called The Facts in the Case of Mr. Valdemar. Now,
rolls right off the tongue.
One of the worst titles for anything ever.
The fucking Valkenvania. Valkenvania.
Thank you. Holy shit, what a pull. Yeah, Valkenvania of titles. That needed to be checked. Starring Adrian, and by the way, guys, I'm sorry if I fucking clear my throat on this fucking thing. I've got fucking COVID, all right? Fucking deal with it. Starring Adrienne Barbeau.
Yes.
Great as always. She's fantastic. Now these were based on Edgar Allan Poe. Now I don't want to say based. I don't think they use the term based. It's like inspired by Edgar Allan Poe. So do we know if this is this is actually a story? Okay.
This one is the Argento segment.
It's like
is based on a story, but he also used like elements from a bunch
other stories. Dude, it was so fucking weird. Like, and using names of like he got really into it. He did. Did you watch both segments? I did. Did you?
I did.
I have something to say about Argento's segments.
Okay.
It's not complimentary to Argento, I'll be honest.
Okay,
do we want to kick off with Argento, even though it was the second part? I'm fine with kicking off Argento because we shouldn't highlight it too much. I have a problem with Dario Argento. And
what's going on?
My problem is obviously great, right? Maybe these...
Is it... Can I guess it?
Yeah.
Is it the fact that Harvey Keitel is wearing a beret and acting like the most passive person, but then in the other scene he's the most like grizzled, drunk, like war vet, like, maniac? Because it like switches. Dude, when you're introduced to him at first, like Argento set him up to be this like bumbling dweeb, like because even the police are like, oh, this fucking mutt over here, like watch out, don't get too close to the crime scene. And you're like, oh, this guy's like a bumbling loser. And then the next scene he's just like sitting in a restaurant like a grizzled old fucking maniac and just abusing his wife and killing animals for the rest of the movie.
So, yeah, that's probably my biggest problem with it, was that Harvey Keitel didn't appear to know how to have ever dressed or drank in his life. When he goes to that restaurant, he's wearing a fucking French beret, and he's like... I've never seen somebody eat so much salt to take a shot in my life. The guy's like sucking down salt. Like, it's a bizarre scene. That did bother me. The animal killing bothered me. So FYI, guys, the second segment, I've never seen a cat murdered more in my life. They just kept killing a cat. So that was weird. And that's where I kind of was like, why does this motherfucker always need to kill a fucking animal in his fucking movies? Like, he's always got a fucking lizard or a fucking bird. And then I was like, as much credit as we give him, by the way, I love him. But maybe these guys that we love, sometimes they take cheap ways out for shock value.
Sure.
And I was like, maybe this fucking guy just wanted to shock people, like, and he couldn't come up with anything, so he was just like, I'm gonna fucking kill this animal.
So in this one specifically, and I do want to say I liked Argento's segment. Like I thought, it was fun. I liked Romero's better, but I did think it was just like completely unnecessary. And also throwing in that like Renaissance fair.
It was exhausting. The fucking thing was exhausting.
Getting his Knight Rider on.
The thing was totally inspired by Knight Rider. That segment was like really exhausting. Harvey Keitel, by the way, is acting his balls off. Like, great job.
Harvey Keitel is great in this.
Yeah, he's fucking nuts. Dude, there's a scene where Harvey like loses his mind after he kills the cat the first time.
Yes.
And he's talking to the woman whose cat he killed. And the way he's talking to her is the most intense, like, scary thing I've ever seen.
He's like legitimately terrifying.
Dude, he's scary as fuck.
I was honestly like sitting up being like, holy shit.
I was like, this guy might have killed a cat once in his fucking life. Because I've never seen somebody know how to react to somebody accusing you of killing their cat. I've never seen that in my life. Like, the guy's like, the fucking cat!
Dude, screaming it's a fucking cat. Like, what's the big deal? He cannot understand why this person is so upset. Not even that he killed it, just like the cat's dead. Like, that alone would be enough to be like, I'm so sorry. But he's just screaming about it being murdered. Dude. That he did it.
She thinks that the cat's missing. She thinks that the cat, like, ran away. So her friend calls her. You don't hear the conversation, but she's like, yeah, he's still gone, like, blah, blah, blah. And she's, like, putting food out for the cat. And he's like, will you fucking feed me and not the fucking cat that's gone? I've never seen somebody... You'd be like... Anyone in that position's like, oh, you for sure killed my fucking cat. I thought the cat was alive until this very moment when I realized you are so angry that I'm looking for a cat that is supposedly still alive. And the way he fucking kills it on screen is insane, dude. Like, it's fucking insane. It's fucking insane. And I'm not even like an animal person. I'm not a cat. I'm not a dog person. This is one of the most insane fucking things I've ever seen in my life. People that get like upset about whether a dog dies or a cat dies in a movie. I don't understand that. I think it's kind of silly. This I get. This was fucking nuts. The guy fucking grabs its fucking face and just starts like
I love animals and I own a cat. I love cats. Yeah. And, I did not enjoy that whatsoever.
Not fun to watch. Oh, Argento. Overall, decent segment though. It was cool.
It's good.
It was cool.
It's good.
And this guy crammed so much Edgar Allan Poe into his shit. Like, there was like one story where I was like, this has to be a different Edgar Allan Poe story. The missing teeth segment.
Yeah.
Which is just randomly crammed into this movie. And I was like, this seems weird. This seems like a really weird fucking thing to include.
It was also wrapped up by having Tom Atkins as Savini as the serial killer. It was also his cousin. Like, dude, it's like an ancestral.
Well, that's what made me think about it, was because I was like, wait, is this a true fact about Edgar Allan Poe? I thought he was actually taking a shot at Edgar Allan Poe because Edgar Allan Poe married his cousin.
And Tom is dressed like Edgar Allan Poe. He looks exactly like him.
Oh, yeah, he looks exactly like him. So I was like, oh, is this a little shot at Edgar Allan Poe? Like, I thought he was like taking a fucking blast at him. And I was like, fuck yeah. No, it's a fucking story Edgar Allan Poe wrote, clearly about himself and the cousin.
An autobiography.
Dude, it was. It fucking was. It was like I was obsessed with her teeth. It's about a guy that's obsessed with his cousin, who he's married to's teeth. And then she dies, so he fucking rips them all out of her fucking head. Okay.
Who's the author that was obsessed with his wife's farts? Is it
fuck.
Oscar Wilde.
Fuck yeah.
We need a movie on that.
Yeah. Farts over cousins for sure. No, yeah, it was Oscar Wilde. And dude, he was obsessed with like, I don't want to misspeak here, but I think he was also obsessed with how like large she was, right? Like, wasn't she I think she was a thick gal.
Dude, no, it was James Joyce. It was James Joyce.
They're both Irish, so you were
yes, I was in the right country. Yeah.
James Joyce farts, dude. Oh yeah, dirty little fuck bird.
Yeah.
Guys,
because I felt your fat, sweaty buttocks under my belly.
For those of you that don't know, James Joyce, absolutely famous author, right?
Yeah, he sure is.
Wrote Ulysses, The Dubliners. I think he's done a bunch. Oh, Finnegan's Wake, I think he did. He did a bunch of shit. Anyway, he wrote love letters to his wife, who like, I mean, for the time, I don't know what she looked like, but she's pretty homely in what you can pull from it. He wrote the most explicit, dirty letters to this woman.
They're vulgar.
They're fucking insane. You can look it up. There's 13 not safe for work lines James Joyce wrote to his wife. Like a hog riding a sow.
I mean, he loves using the word cunt and moist, but he especially just loves her farts, which, what the fuck?
Fat, dirty farts.
So, hold on. Can I read this?
Yeah.
You had an arse full of farts that night, darling, and I fucked them out of you. Big fat fellows, long windy ones, quick little Mary cracks, and a lot of tiny little naughty farties, ending in a long gush from your hole. It is wonderful to fuck. It is wonderful to fuck a farting woman when every fuck drives one out of her. I think I would know Nora's fart anywhere. I think I could pick hers out in a room full of farting women. Now that is romance.
Yo, that's fucking love though.
That's true love.
For real though, if you could identify her fart in a room full of women, God bless you. At every fuck I gave you, your shameless tongue came bursting out through your lips, and if I gave you a bigger, stronger fuck than usual, fat, dirty farts came spluttering out of your backside.
I'm gonna fucking throw up. Why is she? Why was she so flatulent? That's fucking nuts.
And during sex of all
dude.
No.
I'd be so mortified.
It's so nuts, dude. And the lines, like, that's not just the last two. There's like a million others, dude.
Oh, dude, he's
it's
been
like
writing letters for like decades.
I loved it because he also ended a lot of them being like, please, I hope this doesn't offend you.
Dude, if I said like 3 of those words to Tina in a row, I'd just be thrown out of the house.
Oh my God. I'm fucking dying. Anyway, George Romero is a great director.
Yeah, we haven't talked about anything he's done so far.
All right. This week on James Joyce's serial killer.
James Joyce, wife's fat, juicy farts.
Yeah, I'm just gonna read one of his letters in that voice at the beginning of the show.
Please do, with nothing to Romero.
All right, so. Oh my word. So George does this anthology. He does the facts in the case of Mr. Valdemar. A good fucking segment. I really enjoyed it. George I think this was when I guess it was with every movie I watched this week, but I guess with this one especially, I was like, there's no way this is going to be that great, right? Like, I don't know what it was about it. Just the fact that it was like an anthology. It's just like, this is not going to be good. Edgar Allan Poe. And it's like a fucking slam dunk. And I don't know why. Like, it just shot well. The acting's good. It tells a solid story.
It's why I said on the Patreon, like, George Romero is goated. Like, I honestly think he's top 10 all time, at the very least. Top 10.
He has to,
because everything he does, and we've already talked about his influence. but everything he does is quality. It's quality. And this segment is no different. This is made 7 years after Creepshow. If you like, I don't know, cut like 5-10 minutes out of it, condensed it a little bit, could be a Creepshow segment and it would fit in perfectly. I mean, he's got the same actress as the Crate in it, you know, with I'm blanking on her name, Adrienne Barbeau, but it would fit in with Creepshow, and it's like the same quality in my opinion. And like the kills, and there's a scene where they're shooting a corpse, and like the bullets are going through this corpse's body. It's not even like a real person, but the blood is splattering. And it's just like so well done, like squeamish, and I think it would fit in well with that movie.
And for a guy that invented zombies, he does a zombie segment essentially in this one, and still rewrites it. Like,
it's not like the zombies
it's not
done before.
It's not, and he takes it a different way, and it's honestly like kind of like thought provoking in a way. And I don't know whether to give credit to Edgar Allan Poe or for him, because I've never read the Edgar Allan Poe story, but I don't think Edgar Allan Poe went into these details where it was like they were communicating with this dead person. It's very much like, I don't want to call it like a Telltale Heart, but like a similar story.
It is similar to Telltale Heart.
Yeah, and it's a woman, she's married to a guy, he dies, they throw him in a freezer. She wanted his money anyway. She was slowly siphoning off his money so she could marry the doctor. They throw him in a freezer. They keep hearing him talking and talking and talking. You think that this is going to go away. Turns out he's just talking to them.
Yeah.
Somehow, which was wild. I did not expect that.
Well, because the doctor hypnotizes him.
Right.
His soul is like stuck in like hypnosis, even though the body's dead.
Right. Which, that's so fucking nuts. So he's like talking to him, and he didn't like them, but he's like, you need to help me. And like, this is not good for you, because like, there's other souls here and they want to fucking kill you.
Yeah.
And it's the other souls that take his body and make the corpse attack them and become like a zombie. And I was like, man, it doesn't really make a lot of sense, but I'm kind of fucking down with zombies in general don't make fucking sense. So I'm fucking down with it. I thought it was really well made.
Like, I kind of want to read Poe's story to see how much George added on to it, because I really, really liked, like you just said, I don't know who to give the credit to for this, but I really liked that they're trying to get this guy's money, and the lawyer's like, he needs to be alive for the next 3 weeks, and if he dies beforehand, like, you're fucked. You're not getting any money. And the lawyer thinks like she's up to something. Yeah. And the lawyer calls the husband, and the husband's like, yeah, I approve of this, but that's because he's under the spell of the doctor, because the doctor hypnotized him. And I'm saying all that because I really like the fact that they have to keep him alive for 3 weeks. He dies.
Yeah.
And the doctor's like, well, he just fucking died and nobody's going to check on him. Like, we'll just put him in ice. In 3 weeks from now, we'll be like, oh, he's fucking dead. How about that? But then he's talking to them and terrifying Adrienne Barbeau. Yeah. And the most realistic thing a character perhaps has ever done. She's just fucking shooting the corpse to be like, stop talking to me. Yeah. It's like, you would think that thing's still like, what else would you do in that situation? And then the doctor is like, why would you do that? Like, how are we going to explain these bullet holes in his head? Like, we're not going to get the money now. So there was a lot of like small twists and turns that he threw in there that I absolutely loved.
I loved it a lot.
And we get Tom Atkins in this one again.
He's a cop. He shows up the first Tom Atkins. The first Tom Atkins. Well, not the first, but for Romero, but the first in this week for the first appearance of Tom Atkins
of this week. Yes, Detective Grogan. He's got the tiniest little pew pew gun I've ever seen. Dude.
And just as like fucking rich people do the sickest shit I've ever seen in my life. George Romero is so like blue collar. I love.
Yes,
everything he fucking does, man. Like, it's so crazy how rooted in like everyday life he is, and I think that is really the big difference here.
The end of this. First of all, the end of this is legitimately spooky, in my opinion.
Oh yeah,
it's legitimately spooky. Great ending, and then it ends with a blood splatter on the money, and then just a zoom in. It's like an Illuminati PSA. Dude, zoom in on the eye and the pyramid.
It was, and the special effects in this one were pretty great too. With
they were.
Once the guy thaws out and they find the body and it's like just fucking decomposed.
The reanimated corpse is fantastic.
Yeah, it's really fucking good. I think that was Savini in this one too. So,
and the character actors, like the guy playing the husband and then the corpse is E.G. Marshall, and he's in 12 Angry Men, and he's Clark Griswold's father-in-law from Christmas Vacation.
Oh, really?
So he's always great in these bits parts, and like he is perfect in this role.
Yeah, he was amazing. He was fucking scary in this role. Like, dude, when he's like screaming like in the fucking bed, that fucked me up a little bit. So that's Two Evil Eyes, man. What do you rate it?
I give Two Evil Eyes a 3.5.
A 3.5 as a movie or just his segment?
His segment I'd give a 4.
How should we rate it? Like his segment or the whole movie? I guess that's a weird thing, right? You got to give it the whole movie. 3.5.
Yeah,
I'm gonna go a 3Z on it.
3?
Yeah, I liked it a lot.
I liked it a lot.
I'll be honest. Argento's was like, Argento had like the screen cap. Like the screen cap for the movie was based on Argento's, and I was like, that looks so fucked. It's literally 1 second of the fucking movie that they decided to put as the background. I was like, God damn it, looked crazy as shit.
Black Dahlia murder.
Yeah,
It's a girl. It's cut in half.
So from there, that's 1990. 1993, he teams up with Stephen King again. I love these twos. I love these two guys' relationship.
They're a great pair.
When they put their heads together, man, they come out with something fucking cool as fuck.
Why is The Dark Half not talked about more? The Dark Half is not only a good 1990s movie, but like Stephen King's movies, like his movie adaptations, you have the big ones like Carrie and The Green Mile and The Shining, but a lot of them are fucking stinkers. Like so many of Stephen King's adaptations are not good at all.
Yeah.
And this one never gets mentioned, and it is far superior than a lot of them, in my opinion.
And people didn't like it. Critics did not like it at the time. It was originally shot in 1990, and then it got delayed because Orion Pictures was about to go fucking under.
Orion?
So, or Orion. What did I say? What?
I think
Orion?
Yeah.
Did I say Orion?
No, you said Orion.
That's insane. Because the little video is Orion's belt, right? It's the guy from Orion. Yeah. So it's very clearly Orion. Yeah. And I said Orion. Congratulations. I'm a fucking idiot. That's fucking insane. Good job. Good job, everybody.
But yeah, critics didn't like it, but Timothy Hutton and Michael Rooker are fucking phenomenal in this.
There's actually a moment in this movie where I was like, this is fucking brilliant. Like, and we'll get to it in this movie because I'd like to go into this one a little bit. This one's interesting. And this is one where it's like, here's another, I want to read this and I want to read Edgar Allan Poe's story because I want to see, because like Romero wrote this, right? Like he did the full screenplay for it. And as we know, screenplays are a lot different than their fucking books. So I'd really be interested to read this book and see what did George Romero bring to the table on this. But based on the last one, I'm just throwing this out there. I don't think Edgar Allan Poe wrote that fucking well. Edgar Allan Poe sucks. All right, guys. Guy's a fucking bore. I don't give a fuck. Come after me. I don't give a shit. Guy couldn't fucking talking about ravens. Never heard something so dumb in my life. Fucking raven crowing. Oh, guy went nuts. Okay, cool. I'll tell you what. I bet you that story fucking schnoozer until Romero got his hands on it. Anyway, I'm just saying. I think Romero's writing is better than people give him credit for.
Okay.
I think people want to. I think people want, and he edited this one, and I think he's a good editor also, which I don't.
I do think he's a good editor. I agree
because I think this one's edited so fucking well. Like I really like it. I thought it was the way it's shot is great. I think this guy's got like a real vision for what he's making. So the story of this is about this guy, Thad Beaumont, who as a child is experiencing headaches and birds in his hearing birds. So they open his fucking brain up and they find a fucking eyeball and teeth and like a nostril.
What does this remind you of?
Of a twin that he devoured. Well, I don't know what.
Fucking Malignant.
Oh shit! Yeah. Which, by the way, guys, I'm telling you, Malignant's gonna come back around full circle. Dread Central will do a post about how fucking changed the horror world. It didn't. The dark half, though. So he's got this like absorbed twin in his brain, and that's what's causing it. But it seems that he goes through life pretty okay. We cut to like 23 years later, and he's a successful writer under a pseudonym, George Stark.
George Stark. Yep.
Is a pseudonym the same as a pen name, or is that different?
Yes.
It is? Okay.
Yep. Which is funny because Stephen King calls this semi-autobiographical.
I was worried he'd say that because that's what it felt like. And I was like, this was definitely when they came to his house and he just had books written that he did not remember writing. Wasn't that Cujo where they
Cujo,
they found him and fucking drugs everywhere?
Dude, he's you can find that online. I didn't pull it up, but the amount that they found in his trash can is fucking alarming that a single human being consumed that. And yeah, that's why Cujo has no chapters.
just one long thing, dude. Like, imagine being that talented. You just get fucking high and produce Cujo, and you're just like, oh yeah, I don't know.
Who wrote this?
A pretty good dog book. Dark Half, you could tell, like, definitely had some Stephen King autobiographical stuff in it.
Because inspired by the events that led him to revealing his own pseudonym, which is Richard Bachman, which I don't know what led him to reveal it, but I hope it wasn't anything similar to what's happened in this film.
Yeah, I mean, I would also hope that. I don't think it was. But it was funny because it was very on the nose at the beginning when they're like, oh, yeah, Thad Beaumont writes fucking, corny romance novels. And, like, they specifically cite, like, Richard Bachman type books when they're talking about Thad Beaumont. And then, of course, there's George Stark, who is writing smutty, horror-esque material that people are offended by, and Stark decides to, Thad Beaumont decides to reveal to the world that he is both of them, essentially killing George Stark, right?
Yes.
Now, George Stark, how do you talk about this without just, like, explaining that? There's Thad and then there's Bad Thad. Bad Thad is George Stark, and we learned that,
which is nuts because, like you're saying, George Stark is just a pseudonym, and everything that we've watched up to this point, George Stark is just a pseudonym. Like, there isn't a George Stark writing anything, and Thad's like, George Stark is dead, like, I'm just focusing on my own, and he actually gives him a funeral, like, he buries the name, like, there's a tombstone for the name George Stark.
Yes.
And even his wife is like, why is this a thing? Why are you wasting resources on this?
Which is funny because this is, like, really what provocates George Stark to become real? Or right. Is he?
Which, I mean, he is, though.
Dude, he has to be. Like, he's fucking...
I mean, they're both in the room at the same time. People are looking at both of them.
Yeah, I know, but I don't fucking know.
Wait. I might change my rating on this. Because...
Dude, this is the problem with Stephen King books. This is the problem.
He's a twin. Dude, he's a deformed twin, but he's also a fake pseudonym.
Right.
But then why does he come back?
Because he as the witch doctor woman, the white witch doctor that works at his college, said, he he created him by accident by creating the pseudonym. He created George, and then when he tried to kill George got mad, and then like
no, I get all that, but like I don't get it. You know what I mean? Like,
no, I know,
I know what she said,
but it's like, dude, I've read Stephen King books. Like I'm not like the biggest Stephen King reader. Not that I don't like them. It's just they're usually too long for me. So I've read some of his shorter stuff, and they're always like, as cool as they are, they're like, they live in a gray area, right? Where it's like, it doesn't need to be real and it doesn't need to be fake, and it's fine in writing. But as soon as you put it on screen, you're like, I don't get it.
Yes. Here's what I'm gonna say. I'm not changing my rating because it was very fun.
Yeah,
and I thought it was very well done. But if you're going to think about like the logic behind why anything is happening in this, just don't do it. Just don't do it because it's fine. Just accept that it exists the way it does.
It's just Castle Rock, just some weird Castle Rock shit, right?
Yes.
Like it's just
yes,
as they do. So Thad basically creates this bad Thad character who's running around. The gore in this is absolutely out of control.
Yeah.
I was not expecting this level of violence in this movie.
I wasn't either.
Bad Thad fucking murders the shit out of a lot of people.
Everyone he comes across.
He just brutally murders everyone.
And there's like good jump scares. Like there's a scene where somebody's like peering in the doorway and he just puts his hand out and like slaps against the door.
That scared the shit out of me. That fucking got me so good. And I was like, that's fucking good. Cause like George never really does like jump scares like that. It fucking got me.
Yes. Yeah.
The first guy he kills is a guy with one leg who he beats to death with his own leg.
With the leg. Yes. And the guy's like 90.
Yeah. The only thing, my criticism of this would be
that George is dressed like a rockabilly singer.
Yeah. That's a big thing with his fucking slick back hair. It's that, I'm trying to think. They never once like suspended your disbelief that this wasn't another guy, that it wasn't George. You know what I mean? Like you were never like once like, well, George is fake. It can't be George. You were like, this is Timothy Hutton as George doing this shit. Like, you know what I mean? Like
I did think that Timothy Hutton that Thad was like doing that at nighttime.
I mean, like at first, yeah, that's the only
first when you
held up.
Yeah, at first when they introduced him, I was like, you know, he's not remembering doing this, or he's just playing a different part, and he's going out and assuming this other role and committing murders, and then coming back and being like, I'm Thad. I don't know what you're talking about. but that is not the case. There's two Timothy Huttons on screen.
Dude, there is two Timothy Huttons on screen. And one has like no teeth and like his head is fucking bandaged.
John, the more disfigured this guy, George, like takes a beating throughout the film, and his face just becomes more and more deformed and disfigured.
Yeah.
And he ends up looking like John C. Reilly at the end. He's so deformed that he's turned into John C. Reilly.
What a compliment. If somebody said that about my looks, I would fucking jump off a bridge.
Listen, John C. Reilly knows.
He knows. He knows. Yeah, man. He just brutally kills everyone he can find. And they're all people that were related to the burial of George Stark, because it was like a big photo op, press piece. So anyone involved with that is getting got at this point. And again, another one where the cops are heavily involved in this movie,
except for Fred Clausen, who is just a kid who fucking hates pseudonyms. Like that is the kid's only purpose. Like we see him at the beginning. Oh, yeah. He's like, "Hey, Thad, you fucking motherfucker. Like, I know you're writing under this fake name." And he's like blackmailing him. And Thad, for some reason, is like, "Holy shit. Like, what case would this kid bought?" Dude, this kid has no leg to stand on.
Pre-internet, how is this story going to get out? How does this story get out pre-internet? Like, what are you talking about? The kid's like, I'm going to let everybody know. And by the way, the kid's case is all hinged on like just assumption, really. Like,
it's like the blurb on the back of one of George's books.
Right. Like, he's like, you said this, and then this guy said the similar thing. No one would ever take any fucking credence to that. No one would ever listen to that and be like, oh my God, you're right. Like, he just...
Dude, all Thad would have to do is just like, prove it.
Yeah.
Whenever anyone asked him about it.
Because the kid couldn't prove it. He was like connecting dots, but they weren't direct. Yeah. It was just assumption.
That kid's like, I'll be back in 3 fucking weeks. If Thad goes home and he's just like, I don't know what to do with my life. Like, why does any of this matter? But for some reason, George is also real pissed about it because George kills him too.
George is furious about it. Absolutely crazy. Dude, he kills one guy in the office. There's one guy that like shows up to his apartment building that bad Thad kills. He kicks him in the head. The guy's on the ground. He kicks him in the... He punts this guy in the head. It's probably one of my favorite scenes like in movie history. Dude, it was just a brutal fucking punt. And the guy like moves across the floor like 3 feet into like a fucking radiator. Fucking insane. And then this guy, Bad Thad's just slitting throats.
I think my favorite scene is he's going after the boss or the agent. I think it's the agent.
Yeah.
And it's actually really intense because the agent knows like somebody's after him because they know that these murders are happening. And we see somebody lower on a scaffold, but it's just a window cleaner. And the agent's just like, fuck you, you fucking cocksucker. And the window cleaner is so mad about it.
Yeah, he's like, get the fuck out of here. And again, George kills it with showing the daily lives of the people involved because while all this is going on, instead of Tom Atkins, we've replaced him with Michael Rooker.
Michael Rooker, who's great.
Who's amazing.
Fucking great.
Absolutely great. And credit to George for making Michael Rooker not a fucking psycho that he always plays and making him a fucking cop and a fucking likable, good cop.
Good guy, yeah.
Just like a good dude in that segment. And you see George does this segment where he's showing how their lives are impacted by this because Rooker's after Thad, but like I think he believes Thad did it, but he also doesn't. Like there's like a sliver of him that's like, this is not Thad.
It's not adding up.
Yeah, something's not adding up. And he portrays that perfectly. Yes. And so there's like this like cat and mouse there with that.
And he portrayed like when they present to him that there is George Stark, the pseudonym who's come to life. And he's also somehow formed from like a dead twin that was in his brain. Michael Rooker is just like, that's not a fucking, what are you saying to me? But then he's finally at the end just like, this might actually be true. And like, you can just see in his eyes, just be like, what is happening to my life?
Yeah, for sure. He's amazing. And during this, George has this moment where George goes to George and is just kind of goes back to Thad and Michael Rooker's daily lives. And you're like, man, this case is like really fucking with these people and the people around him. So with Rooker, he like pulls a gun on his wife in the middle of the night because he's paranoid. And he thinks that George Stark is coming to get him. And like you can see this impact on his personal life. And the same with Thad, you see, like his wife yelling at the kids and like the stress is becoming unbearable for everyone involved in this. And it's just like touches of that, man. I think George is fucking great at that. Like showing the implications of like the horror. Like the horror is cool, but then like the implications outside of it.
The gore and the kills are, the easy part, but the effect that it has on your day-to-day living is like what he's really good at.
Man, he's fucking amazing at it.
Which makes it more terrifying. Like, oh, these other people are affected by it. It's not just Thad.
Yes. Yeah. Which is something that's lacking in a lot of horror movies. Anyway, Bad Thad attempts to shoot 2 babies at one point in this movie, which was nuts. Could not believe that happened.
That's another George. Oh, he does not hold back.
Dude, he's not afraid.
He will put the young in harm's way.
Absolutely, and 10 out of 10 times. Even though I was just bashing Argento for killing kids or killing animals,
killing a cat.
Yeah. What are these?
To be fair, in that Argento segment, Harvey Keitel looks way more maniacal than Bad Thad does, pointing a gun at 2 children.
Absolutely. I just got like the weirdest fucking spam emails I've ever seen in my life. Disturbing and dangerous. What the fuck? All right. Leave me the fuck alone. All right. Yeah. What do you rate this movie? And the end is, I mean, I don't even.
I like the effects at the end.
The end was cool.
And it's like early CGI because not all those birds were real. There were 2,000 birds released into that house, which can't be legal, and it seems like a fucking health hazard. But.
Wait, before you continue, I just don't want to forget this. So you mentioned 2,000 birds getting released. I did not look that up. What I did notice, though, because I watched all the credits for some reason, was that this does not contain no animals were harmed in the making of this movie. It does, though, have like we did everything we could to protect the animals of this movie. And I was like, holy shit, a fucking animal fucking died in this for sure, right? Like, and now that you're saying that 2,000 birds were released, for sure, a terrible idea. Like, fucking awful idea. Anyway.
Dude, just shitting all over the place. It's fine. But they did use computer-generated birds. Dude, there's also... we need to find it, because there is a PC game that was released to tie-in with this.
No, there was.
Yes, there was. Movie tie-in adventure game, also called The Dark Half, was released for MS-DOS in 1992. It loosely follows the plot. Yeah, I don't know why I said DOS. It loosely follows the plot of the movie and resembles LucasArts and Sierra's early adventure games. It immediately fell into obscurity and is now a collector's item. Of course it fucking did. Who was buying that?
Oh my God. This is so nuts. Dude, oh my God, this is so crazy. I want to play it so bad. It looks insane, bro. Sorry.
I mean, what would you possibly be playing?
I'll tell you right now.
The character arc.
Hey, your character arc. That's your fucking brain with the eyeball.
In the teeth.
For those of you that are watching or not watching, listening, I'm just showing Joe a screen cap that shows the fucking teeth and the eyeball in the guy's brain for this fucking video game.
Is somebody doing the playthrough?
Yeah. It's not, so we can get it. Dude, this is insane.
Wow.
This is so nuts.
Wow.
Also, again, like Joe said, this has got to be one of the most boring things I've ever seen.
It's just a guy pacing a cemetery.
Well, you know what must be great is when Thad and George Stark fucking go toe to toe in a write-off in the movie. That sounds
prime for video game.
An actual thing that happens in this movie. George is like, well, only one of us can be alive. And Thad's like, you know what we have to do? And they just have a fucking write-off. They're just fucking writing books next to each other. Fucking great. But the end is nuts with the birds, and they tear fucking George Stark apart. Like, insane.
Rip him apart. And the end it's like slow too. It's just ripping his flesh off. It's disgusting.
It's absolutely appalling.
Michael Rooker is watching it, like slowly losing his mind, having a meltdown.
Can you imagine that? You couldn't even get over the idea of like the twin
George Stark existing,
and then on top of it, 8
you
billion
finally
birds
see him,
coming.
he's being ripped apart by sparrows. That would be like, dude. That'd be like finally like finding Bigfoot and just watching it be ripped apart by 2,000 sparrows. You'd be like, well, who's gonna believe this? Like, I fucking just saw Bigfoot and he was eaten by sparrows.
That's the funniest thing in the world. Oh my God, that is the funniest shit I've ever heard in my life. Being eaten alive by 2,000 sparrows. So insane. Oh my god.
And he's got to go back and fill out a report. What the fuck is he going to say?
Oh, I think that's the funniest thing I've ever heard. Give me that police report. Oh my god. Well, after this,
what do you rate it?
Oh, Dark Half. I really enjoyed it. I'd probably say a 3.5.
I'm gonna give it 3.5 too. I think I'm being super generous because I'm so high on Romero, but I mean, I really enjoyed it.
No, I think that's a fair rating for that movie. 4 would have been too much. 4 would have been too much for the Dark Half.
Yeah, for sure.
So after the Dark Half, it's 1993. George takes an 8-year hiatus.
Yes.
Just fucking
7 year. 7
year. And I mean, honestly, kind of probably longer than that, right? Because he filmed it in 1990, so
yeah. Oh,
that's even crazier.
Yeah. So it's like a 10 year.
Yeah. So he takes a long hiatus, and he comes back with.
Well, he does do Jacaranda Joe in 1994, which, dude, it aired twice this fucking year for free through the University of Pittsburgh.
Yes.
Their film archives. You had to register on Twitter. I guess the first time filled up, so they did it again. Impossible to find. I'm hoping they release it somehow since they're showing it.
Come on, you gotta give us this. I need to see it.
I need to see it too. It looks great.
And again, fucking George doing like pre
Blair Witch.
Pre Blair Witch is doing something that looks pretty fucking similar. Like the dude is like ahead of the curve, and again, just making whatever the fuck he wants. Like, why does he make this? It's 17 minutes. He just like
he has to know something called Jacaranda Joe isn't going to make him money, right?
It's very odd. It's and I love him for it. He's like the most punk rock fucking director of all time. Like, dude, this guy just doesn't give a shit, and it's fine. Like, he sells out to an extent, if you believe in that shit, with the studio shit. But even then, he's just like, I'm just gonna kind of fucking make this weird ass movie and shoot it the way I want to shoot it. And then that brings us to the year 2000, where he releases Bruiser. Which we already discussed. French film. Peter Stormare. Leslie Hope is in it. She's pretty great. Filmed in Toronto. I like this movie a lot.
Listen, I mean, in the grand scheme of Romero films, it's one of his weaker ones. But it's not because it's a bad movie. And if it was, like I said, if it was somebody doing it as like their first movie, anyone not named George Romero, you'd be like, this is a really solid year 2000 horror movie.
For sure. And it's the last movie he does that's not part of the Dead series.
Yes.
So he'll only really make 3 other films.
I was expecting this to be such a stinker.
Dude, I thought this was going to be a giant
flaming
piece
turd.
of shit.
Yeah.
Dude, I thought this was going to be the biggest piece of shit on the planet. I almost didn't even put it in our movies to do, but I the way he like started breaking up the movies, it's all I could do was put Bruiser on this week.
I remember you were like, this one might be optional. Because, like, I mean, not knowing anything about it and knowing that it's his last one before the Dead trilogy, his final Dead trilogy, you'd be like, it's the last one for a reason. And he's going back to what he knows for a reason. Right,
exactly. I dug it. I thought it was an interesting, fucking unique story. Don't know where the fuck he came up with this idea, but...
just like a psychological thriller.
Fucking wacky. Yeah, yeah, it is. Really cool. Tom Atkins shows back up.
He does, and he's great, as
fucking
usual.
Amazing.
I mean, Tom Atkins must get... I mean, all of his questions must be Night of the Creeps or Halloween 3, right? I want to talk to him about these two movies. I just want to sit down and talk about Bruiser and the Two Evil Eyes.
And it's an interesting thing too, because they're like bit parts, right? They're just like fucking throwaway parts that he took, and you're like, oh, that's weird.
Well, he's very central to this movie in particular.
I guess he's central to it, but he's like, his screen time is so mundane. Like he just shows up and is like, hey, wiseacres. I'm trying to
he's playing Dick Tracy.
Dude, it's so weird. Like, he's not moving the story along. He's just following.
Only detective wearing a trench coat in the year 2000.
In California.
That's right. 9,000 degrees out. He's just like that. Just like that inside a Halloween party. The place must have stunk. It must have been so hot in there.
So Bruiser, the name Bruiser is from a magazine, I believe, that our lead character works for, right? Is it a magazine,
Wait,
Henry?
Is the magazine called Bruiser?
Yes. Whatever they work for is called Bruiser.
Okay.
Which is why I thought the name of the movie was kind of weird.
Okay. Is the magazine... Yes, it's the magazine company. The reason I was hung up is because there's a scene where they're picking like what models should be featured in the magazine, and Stormare's like, this one looks like a piece of shit. He's fucking absolutely gorgeous. He's like, this one looks like a piece of shit. He's like, this is what we call a bruiser. And they all just start chanting bruiser. So I still don't understand why.
I mean, listen, you don't ask fucking questions. Stormare's character is literally just there to like make your fucking blood boil. Like, just
he is so good as a sleazebag.
Dude, all he does is make you fucking cringe and want to like fucking poke your own eyeballs out. Like,
when he is in the work setting acting as a boss, he is just like Michael Scott. If Michael Scott was not in if Michael Scott was real life, right?
Yes.
That would be what Peter
totally unhinged. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, Michael Scott's funny because it's not realistic, but if you put it in a real world scenario, it's actually terrifying and inappropriate.
Michael Scott's funny because it's written to be a comedy, but if Michael Scott was your boss, it would be Milo. You would hate you would turn into the main character.
It's so funny. Yeah, so our lead character, he works for this magazine. He's kind of a pushover. He's got a wife who doesn't even like him.
She hates him and cheats on him with everybody he's ever looked at.
Yo, there's a fucking scene that is so well acted in this where they're in the car fighting.
After the party?
Yeah.
Yes.
This is like a devastating fucking scene.
Yes.
George fucking rocks, dude. George is the fucking best.
We said at the beginning, this actor is like a nobody, right? He's not in a lot. He doesn't really have star power, but he gets a good enough performance out of all of them.
It's fucking great. So basically, the guy's a pushover. He's got a friend that's his money manager, and he starts having visions of like people that like treat him like shit, and he's murdering people. And the first one we get is so abrupt and terrifying because a woman like cuts him in line.
Push her in a train.
Dude, a woman cuts him in line for the train, and he just starts fucking clobbering her. And you're like, wait, am I watching is he actually hitting a woman right now? Like, wait, what is happening? You're so confused. And then you see her head land on the fucking train tracks, and then the train rolls over. It's the most insane scene. You're like, what the fuck? And then cuts, and it's just his dream. And you're like, what the fuck was that? That was crazy. And he has these visions about all these people in his life, just like putting an axe through their head or doing something to them.
Yes.
Just regression, suppressed pain, I guess, from being such a pushover. And we learn that Milo will just have sex with anything, and he approaches Henry's wife or girlfriend, and they have this weird encounter that you don't really understand what's going on. Like, he's touching her, there's a lot going on, but you're like, what the fuck? Henry sees it, doesn't do anything, and then they drive home, they get gas, and the wife and him have a fight that is like one of the most devastating fights you could have.
I agree.
In a relationship where she's like, you're a fucking coward and a fucking pussy. And he's like, no, it's just how you play the game. And she's like, I was jerking a guy off in front of you and you saw it and you didn't do a fucking thing. And I was like, this is like the most heartbreaking thing I've ever seen in my fucking life. Like, I can't even fucking imagine that. Like, I can't even fucking fathom that. And she's like, you're fucking scum. Like, I hate you.
Yeah.
And
she's like, don't wait up. I'm going to go jerk this guy off again.
Yeah. And then the next day he wakes up with a mask on. Because at the party they had these like white masks.
At the party, Milo's wife, Rosie, made a plaster mold of his face. And she has a Garden of Lost Souls, which is just masks that she makes, which... I go to anybody's house and they show me their Garden of Lost Souls.
Nope.
I will never speak to you again.
Goodbye. But he wakes up with this mask attached to his face, and it's not really. I don't even know if I'd say it's attached. His face is just gone. He just has.
It's his face.
It's his face because he tries to like scratch.
Cuts it. Yeah.
And blood comes out. Oh, fucking good, man. I fucking love this idea. I think this is fucking great. And also, Stephen King-y, very Stephen King-esh.
Yeah.
You know, it reminded me of Stephen King a lot.
And the fact that the mask is so, like, featureless. It's just eyes and a mouth, right?
Dude, and it's got these tiny pinhole eyes, so it's, like, really fucking alarming to see. It's, like, really fucking creepy as fuck. And he wakes up with this on first person this guy kills now suddenly. Suddenly Henry's like, he's not holding back anymore. So the housekeeper shows up and he fucking kills her because she stole the silverware. And he's like, by the way, one of the silliest kills because he's like accusing her and she's like, I didn't steal anything. And she had like a bag full of the stolen silverware. And he's like, well, if you didn't steal anything, then this isn't going to hurt. And he fucking winds up the fucking bag and fucking kills her just by fucking bashing her over the head with it.
All stolen goods. Bag full of silverware.
Fucking power play. Fucking, well, then this won't hurt much at all then. Oh, shit. So she's dead. Yeah. And then while that's going on, Milo's wife catches Milo fucking Henry's girlfriend.
Yes.
And she takes pictures, runs away. He goes to chase her. And then Henry's there. And Henry throws his fucking girlfriend. By the way, because the girlfriend complained that he didn't know how to use an extension cord. She was like, you dumb bastard, don't even know how to use an extension cord. So he wraps it around her fucking... He's like, you want to see an extension cord? Wraps it around her neck and tosses her out the window of a fucking building.
Yeah, so she's hanging out there.
The Bruiser building.
Yes.
And that's when we...
Milo's downstairs and just be like, oh, holy shit.
And by the way, Tom Atkins is a fucking idiot because Tom Atkins shows up. You arrest Milo on the fucking spot.
You take him in
immediately. And instead
he's telling him all like every bit of the crime scene. And my favorite part is he's like, well, it was probably your wife who caught you. And Milo's like, it can't be. It fucking can't be. Yeah, we know, Milo, and you also know that because you were outside with her and watched her drive away right when the body was thrown out.
It was so fucking such a weird scene. But by the way, while all of this is happening, so we have evidence, we know everything. Milo's like, it wasn't me, and Tom Atkins was like, okay, I think you might be right. I think you might be onto something. And this is the scene where you were talking about where a guy is like waving something out, like throwing paper out the window. And Tom Atkins
hey, boss, get a load of this. He's like,
just waving evidence out the window. And Tom Atkins is like, you stupid fucking idiot. Just toss the evidence wherever you please. Yeah. So that's where we end up. Oh, and by the way, Atkins is accusing that it might be Rosie who committed the murder.
The wife.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So not just that she caught him, but she probably did it.
Right, which is why Milo was like, it can't be.
Which is so weird.
It can't be because we watched her outside with him.
Yeah. And then that's when the cops decided to go to Henry's house and talk like 1920s crime investigators, being like, yeah, this dame, this goddamn dame. Dude, they say dame so often, it's insane. And then as this is going on, overarching, Henry is losing his mind. Rightfully so. He has no face anymore. He even paints the white, like, skin toned, which makes it creepier, and then just starts painting on it, very similar to what Rosie had asked him to do, like paint the mask to represent you. So now he's like painting his own face, like after every kill to kind of represent him.
Yes.
He confronts Rosie, confesses to all of his crimes, which I don't know who he confessed to, but Rosie's like, please don't. He left a voicemail for somebody. I don't know if it was the radio station or the police. So it's really weird later when Tom Atkins confronts him, and then a bunch of people are just like, it was me. And he's like, wait, who is it?
The I am Spartacus ending is just everyone be like, I'm the killer. Atkins being confused.
Atkins already knows it's between two people. And then he's like, whoa, hey, hang on a second.
Romero also like utilized the jaw shot there, just zooming on Atkins' face.
Yeah. Dude, that scene is so nuts.
Take them both in. Just take them both in.
They're both right there, and like 7 people in the crowd
they both have this. They both have the same mask. Atkins is at that party to apprehend one of the two of them.
Yes, and now he has both of them, and is subdued because 7 people are like, "It was me," and he's like,
"There's a bunch of Misfits fans."
What the fuck? And by the way, what's most insane about this moment is both Henry and Rosie are trying to be arrested. They're both actually confessing. Like, Henry's like, take me in, it was me. And then Rosie's like, no, it was me. So, like, he's case closed, we're done. And then everyone's like, it was me. And he's like, wait a second.
I fucking loved that.
It's so stupid.
Also, we talk about in that scene, we get a live performance from the Michael Graves era Misfits.
Famous monsters. They perform a couple songs off of that. And we did a whole bonus on it.
Yeah, the reason they're in that is because George directed the music video for their song Scream, and he apparently the only payment he wanted was for them to be in his movie.
Like, George undersells himself so fucking much.
Yeah, dude, that's my thought too. Dude, like, fucking George Romero.
Dude, first of all, you should have been paid to make their video. Second, they should have paid you to be involved in any movie.
Dude, I would pay George. I don't care if it's called Bruiser and it's with nobody. I'm paying you to be in this movie.
Absolutely.
George Romero.
Absolutely. You can find probably 1 million metal bands in the year 2000 that would have paid to get the exposure to be in a George fucking Romero movie. And it's like, George is cutting deals on the side, being like,
selling himself short is the great way to say it.
Listen, I'll direct your movie, and then I'll direct you in my movie. So all the work's on me.
Like Jerry Only's lawyer contacting George, being like, just tell us the price, we want you to direct. And he's like, just have him be an artist. Probably blew their mind. Like, are you sure?
Absolutely.
Sure that's what George said?
Fucking did. Oh my goodness. But it is cool to see him in there. Like, I was like, is this the Misfits? And it fucking was.
Yeah.
What was I going to say here? I was going to say, dude, when they go to this club, this party, it's like a Halloween party. I don't think it's at Halloween time, though. What's grosser, the food at the club, which is, by the way, like fetal like pieces of babies and punch, or Neil Patrick Harris's Amy Winehouse?
The answer is Amy Winehouse. The answer is Amy Winehouse.
If you guys don't know, just Google Neil Patrick Harris's Amy Winehouse meat platter.
I mean, dude, I am a fan of like things that, offend you or push the buttons, push your buttons, but like that, especially, it was like a week after. Like,
dude, it was like so doing.
doing? And it's like a real person. Probably people at that party knew. It's fucking nuts.
That's psychotic.
Also, anybody that ate from that platter should be fucking arrested.
Dude, it didn't look like food. It didn't look appealing whatsoever.
I mean, it looked like a corpse, which was what he was going for. So I guess, good job. But you eat from that. Disgusting. You're disgusting. But yes, that punch was disgusting. It had floating doll head, baby doll heads.
Yeah, Henry ends up catching Milo, and fucking one of the other things that I was not expecting was him to shoot. The way he kills Milo is this like very elaborate fucking special effect.
Fucking jigsaw. Setting him up.
Honey, I Shrunk the Kids laser beam. He convinces Milo that he's gonna like float him from the ceiling from wires, and for the grand finale, and Milo's like, oh yeah, and then he does, but then he starts shooting him with a laser and shoots him through the fucking brain, killing him with a laser beam. It's so silly. Yeah, and then Henry leaves all this shit behind, covers his face,
and Rosie shows up dressed like him,
which I didn't even fucking understand. Says
she's just like Zorro, which fun. Nobody's ever fucking seen Zorro in their life if they think that Zorro's wearing that white mask, dressed like that.
The other thing is like, Rosie and Henry have this weird relationship where you think that they're like love interests, and to an extent they are, but like not really. And there's like kind of an interesting exchange they have where like you think it's going to play into that like love interest, like they're going to fall for each other because they were both in shitty relationships. And it's really like Rosie's like, I'm not interested in this. Like, it's like a really interesting moment. I don't know. And it doesn't really play into the overall story, but it was interesting. But then, so Henry leaves his shit behind, and then Henry's face comes back.
Yeah.
I loved it.
Yeah. He
got all the revenge. He stood up for himself.
He did. And he escapes, and he wins. Like, well, we said, I mean, there's no reason for him to escape because Atkins has him dead to rights. But
dude, it's insane.
Escapes.
Dude, and then Atkins has Rosie. Atkins and Rosie have a conversation at the end. By the way, at this point, Rosie is an accomplice.
She's complicit.
She's complicit or something.
All of these.
She has crimes against her, seeing as though she allowed him to escape. And it's insane. And so Tom's like, oh boy, good going out there. If you ever see him again, can you tell him I'll be looking for him? And Rosie's like, sure, and walks away. And you're like, what the fuck is this? What the fuck is this? Tom Atkins, worst police officer of all time.
At the very least, interference with a crime scene, right? Because
right.
She's just saying, no, arrest me, and allowing for him to get away.
Right, exactly. That's what I'm saying. Like, there's something there. Atkins, his exact words to her goes, lady, I got skunked again. Yeah, no, you fucking didn't apprehend a murderer. Serial killer. Skunked again. Oh, boy. Oh, and like much to what you said, he goes, and I have to report this. Like his big concern is that he has to now write a report where he's like, I got bamboozled by some dame saying it was me. His words, not mine, about the dame.
Chief is probably like, oh, for fuck this again. this again, Tom.
This guy blew another fucking case because of a dame. He's always writing about dames, always getting skunked. Whatever that means. He's just the guy they like can't fire. They're like, what the fuck?
I want to crowdsource like origin stories of these bit characters in Romero films.
I'm so with it. That's not the end though. We cut to
A+ ending, by the way. It should be the end. He escaped. He won.
We cut to Henry. We cut to Henry, who has become a surfer dude.
He's turned into Malcolm McDowell in Rob Zombie's Halloween.
Oh, yeah.
He's trying to be younger. Long hair,
blonde, long-haired wig, tied in a ponytail. And by the way,
and all he's doing is pushing a cart, and for some reason, the boss is like, "I'll fucking kill you, you piece of shit."
Dude, and this guy's face is so old and ugly looking. It's so aged that it looks so bizarre.
I've never seen an angrier character in my life than this boss at the very end.
This boss is furious. He's like, "Why are you fucking looking at me?" And then Henry turns around, revealing that he has his white face back to kill his boss, which was probably not great.
What you did, that guy, nobody's deserved it more.
No, absolutely not. And then that's where we end. And then it ends with a terrible cover of Take On Me.
Yes, I didn't look up who did that.
I didn't either, but it's not the Misfits. Take On, and it's not the Real Big Fish one.
No, it's not Real Big Fish.
It's like, it had to be let's look at 98. It had to be, I don't know what it was, man. Yeah. It's so funny that neither of us looked it up. The only two people that would look it up were like, we know we're going to talk about it. But no.
Sean, I found the answer.
Is it MXPX?
No, it's not. It's way more stupid because I can't even pronounce it. Just type in "Take On Me" Bruiser 2000.
Take On Me. It's Tom Atkins.
It's not Tom Atkins.
Are you serious right now?
The Woolston Kinder?
Woolston Kinder. Come on, man. What is that even? What is that? Take On.
The classic Woolston's Kinder song.
I mean, that sounds like a band named that. A punk band from Cologne, Germany. Maybe they'll open for Kraftwerk when you see them.
Dude, if that happens, we for sure live in a simulation.
Oh man, good for them. Look at them getting that big payday. Yikes. That cover sucked. That was one of the worst covers I've ever fucking heard in my life. And I
just looked up. They have 6 albums.
That's so much because they were only around for 10 years.
There's a lot.
10 years. They were from 95 to 2005. I saw that they had a double disc live set.
Live album from 2005.
Double disc. What are they performing? Unbelievable. We actually have a lot of fans in Germany. I wonder if they know them. Like, I hope.
Yeah.
What's that? Andy, our boy Andy.
Yeah.
Maybe he'll message us and be
Andy,
like,
let us know.
He's usually on our side, though. He'll probably be like, God damn it, they're fucking the worst. Never know, though. And that's it for Romero, man. That's it for fucking Romero.
Double disc live album. Funny. Yeah, that's it. What do you give Bruiser?
Bruiser, well, this ending has me like a little bit not exactly thrilled on it. I would say Bruiser for me a solid 3.
I'm giving it a 3 too.
I think a 3 is fair. I think a 3 is a fair.
Yeah.
Yeah, 3 is good. 3 is good. So that's it for Romero. We only have one more segment of his life left, man. The last 3 movies he'll make.
But next week is our live show.
Oh, that's fucking right. Oh, that's going to be such a nice break. Yeah, so live show next week. Oh, that's awesome. So live show next week, we're doing Creep Show. That's going to be so much fucking fun.
It's going to be fun.
Let's get drunk. Let's get silly. Let's watch Creep Show, laugh at Tom Atkins being an angry dad. And yeah, maybe do some trivia this time. Maybe if I can get my shit together. Probably won't. But join us for that. Patreon.com/I hate horror. You can sign up there. Again, tickets aren't for sale, but you can find all of our links and stuff. Patreon.com/IHateHorror.com. You can find all the links there. Patreon is patreon.com/I hate horror. We're at facebook.com/I hate horror, Instagram at I hate horror, and Twitter occasionally at I hate horror show. Joe, where can they find you?
Instagram, Boognish1985.
Perfect. And then, so we're going to do, I'm so excited. So we're going to do Creepshow next week, and then we'll finish off Serial Killer with Land of the Dead, Diary of the Dead, and Survival of the Dead.
I can't wait.
I mean, there's no reason for, I mean, there is a reason, but there's no reason for us to be like, these are going to be terrible.
Right.
Everything he's done, we're like,
I mean, I don't have a good feeling about it, but I'm excited for Land. I'm excited.
Land has like crazy critical response, like good.
I saw it in theaters when it came out, and I liked it. So
and then something happened.
See if it holds up.
Yeah.
Not like the other two.
And then, of course, after that, we got July.
I can't wait for July.
Is Paul going to do them with us or no?
He said yes. Listen, Rachel gave me the scoop. He's excited for it. He puts on a front in the fucking group chat.
That's infuriating because he's
just the two people he just needs to communicate with.
In group chat. All we need is like yes or no, and he's like, "I'm trying to find a way to get out of it." Paul, I don't know what the fuck that means. Like, is that a joke or are you serious? I don't know, and it's fine if you don't want to do it. Well, I'll be very glad to have him as part of all of July.
People want it. I mean, shout out to Travis H, who always supports us and always has kind things about all of our episodes. He is super stoked to have Paul on.
Yeah, it's been a while.
Yeah.
It's been a while. So, yeah, that'll be fun. That'll actually be super fun.
When's the last time he was on?
I don't know. We only really did bonuses and live shows. That's right. And they kind of like blended together.
Remember you showed up to my house during a live show and just asked me questions while during the most could ask me watching a movie, so you could ask me a question anytime that the movie's on because I'm on mute. But just talks to me while the only time that you and I are talking.
That was actually amazing. That made for like the best live show content of all time. Also, like all your kids were sleeping. Like it was.
You came over with a bag full of Toshiro Mifune DVDs.
Oh,
wait.
No,
there's no Toshiro Mifune, and then there's something that's
there was like an Owen Wilson. There was like an Owen Wilson movie or something at the top. Some like shitty comedy from like the 2000s.
No, it's fucking Capote. It's the Truman Capote movie. That's so stupid.
He's so fucking.
Why does he have that?
He's so fucking weird. Oh, he's the best. All right. So that's it, guys. So we will see you next week. If you're Patreon, come join us, please. Saturday, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. If you're not, we will see you June 28th, or see us or hear us, June 28th for the final installment of George Romero's Serial Killer.
Yes.
And that's it, guys. So thank you all so much. Thanks to Joe. And for Joe, this is Sean. Stay weird.
Thank you.
Adios.
I dissect movies all fucking day.
I wanna play.
I'm gonna watch what I'm not supposed to watch.
A fucking zombie getting sliced and diced. A monster.
The smallest things. The smallest things give me a great cock stand. A whorish movement of your mouth, a little brown stain on the seat of your white drawers, a sudden dirty word spluttered out by your wet lips, a sudden immodest noise made by you behind, and then a bad smell slowly curling up out of your backside.